Now, before you rush to the comment section to tell me you disagree with the premise of this video or my stance on this issue, please listen to the whole video so you can be as informed as possible. If you watch this entire thing and listen to everything I'm saying and still disagree, that's okay, but please be respectful in the comments. I wasn't sure I was going to actually make a video about this because I've seen my fellow content creators cover it pretty well, but I'm still seeing misinformed comments on my videos, so I felt it was necessary to clear up any questions people might have about Wheelmode. Let's go. Real quick before I get into the video, if you're looking for any of my Motorfest tunes or my Need for Speed Heat builds, I've moved everything to my website. It's militiagamingco.com. There's links in the main navigation menu for Need for Speed Heat builds and Motorfest Pro settings, so click those if you're looking for that. The link to the site is actually in the description of this video. All right, enjoy. All right, I'm going to break down this video into 3 sections. In the first section, I'm going to talk about what the problem is. The second section is going to be facts about Wheelmode. In other words, no opinions will be present. Just what it is and what it's capable of, that type of stuff. And then the last section will be my stance on it. Alright, enough disclaimers, let's get into it. For the people who don't know, playing on a wheel in Motorfest gives you incredible control over your car. The steering response is a direct 1-to-1 ratio, meaning the instant that you start turning your steering wheel, the game recognizes it and begins to turn the wheels on your car. This instant response gives the driver a very precise steering ability, one that actually can't be taken advantage of by all players. To really take advantage of that precision, you need to be a very skilled player who is, well, very precise. Now, side note about wheels, but this is important to the overall conversation. Wheels come with software that allows users to adjust the amount they turn the wheel to make the wheels on the car go fully locked to one side or the other. The standard setting is 900 degrees of rotation, which is 2.5 turns of the wheel in order to fully lock the wheels to one side. However, in the settings, they may adjust that 900 degrees all the way down to 180 degrees, which is only a quarter of a turn in either direction. Now, because Motorfest gives wheel players that 1-to-1 instant steering, and players have the option to reduce the degrees of rotation necessary, the time that it takes to fully lock your wheel to the left or to the right is basically instant. Think about how much time it would take you to turn a steering wheel a quarter of a turn to the left or to the right. It's pretty fast, isn't it? This is not possible on controller. Controller players have a delayed steering response due to a few factors. I'm not going to go into detail on those factors because I feel like as a community we've been guessing a lot and none of us are really actually on the Ivory Tower dev team, and you can clearly see that there is a difference. So here's a clip of a wheel player and a controller player side by side so you can see it for yourself. Notice how long it takes the controller player to fully lock his wheels to one side. Obviously, the response to the steering input is very different and delayed. That delay makes it so that the wheel player can do things the controller player cannot, effectively raising the bar on what's possible during races. All controller players are limited by this delay, even if they possess the skills to go faster and perform some of the things that highly skilled wheel players can do. This is the issue. Wheel players have a higher ceiling than controller players, making Motorfest a pay-to-win game in the higher skill levels. You're obviously not paying Ubisoft, you're paying Logitech or Thrustmaster or whatever wheel company you decide to go with, but nonetheless, in order to compete at the highest levels, you would definitely need to buy a wheel. Alright, let's talk about what Wheelmode actually is. Wheelmode effectively gives the controller players the same 1-to-1 steering ratio that the wheel players have by default. It's achieved through what's called a virtual controller. This is basically a similar software to what the wheel has out of the box. It's a group of settings that allows the player to customize his controller experience, and in this case, adjust the steering sensitivity in Motorfest. How does this work? Basically, the software intercepts your controller's signal and reports it to Motorfest as being a wheel, and Motorfest kindly grants the input with 1-to-1 steering. That's it. And although it is a third-party software outside of the game, so is the software that comes with a wheel. Both programs allow the user to do the exact same thing in-game. In fact, wheel players still have a slight advantage over Wheelmode players when it comes to the precision due to the range of motion required to make a turn. It's much easier to make a mistake when controlling a small joystick with your thumb than it is on a wheel with 2 hands and a large range of motion. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions about wheel mode, so here are some facts to clear some of those up. Number 1, it doesn't give you speed hacks. The only thing affected is the steering. Number 2, it doesn't steer for you. In fact, it makes it actually harder for you to steer. Number 3, it doesn't make you steer smoother. It's actually far more twitchy, and the risk of oversteer and spinouts is far greater. Number 4, it doesn't instantly make you faster. It takes a lot of time to adjust to. Number 5, it doesn't feel good. It actually completely ruins the driving experience because all the cars start to feel twitchy and weightless to drive. And finally, number 6, it doesn't add anything. All it does is allow the player to take advantage of settings that are already in Motorfest. They just happen to be reserved for players that spend the money on a wheel. Alright, so knowing this information, here's my take on it. Wheel mode is just a band-aid to a problem that has existed since the beginning of the Crew 2. It's obviously a design choice by Ivory Tower to favor the player experience over the fairness of the PvP at the highest levels. Playing with a wheel at 180 degrees of rotation feels crazy and not realistic at all, which is certainly the point of wheel setups, and it's the same with wheel mode. It does not feel good to use. Simply put, even though I don't use it, I don't have an issue with wheel mode existing, mostly because it wouldn't exist if wheels and controllers were more balanced. The fact that they are so unbalanced is what caused this in the first place. But also because wheel mode doesn't affect 99% of the players in Motorfest, and here's why. Wheel mode is not a hack that makes you better. It's just a setting that gives players who possess the skill, I mind you, the ability to go faster. 99% of the players in Motorfest can't even take advantage of that setting because their skill level isn't high enough. There are so many other things that players must be doing right before they can take advantage of wheel steering, whether it be on a physical wheel or by using wheel mode on a controller. Players who are struggling to get into Platinum in the summits aren't going to install wheel mode and then all of a sudden have no issue. Just like they couldn't just buy a wheel and all of a sudden have no issue. We need to stop thinking of players with wheel mode as something different than players with a wheel. They both have the same advantages over regular controller players, and that's 100% on Ivory Tower to either close the gap or make a statement saying what their intention with the game is. As a community of racers, we need to stop bashing other players for something that is actually on the developer. Wheel mode is not the issue, so please be kind to one another, and together, let's see if we can get a response from Ivory Tower or Ubisoft. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you feel IVT needs to do something about the fairness between controller and wheel. Also, if you'd like to support the channel in a huge way, consider subscribing, and I've just opened up memberships. You can join to get exclusive perks like sneak peeks at all the upcoming videos, members only community posts and polls, and a 20% off coupon to my Shitbox t-shirt store. Link to that is in the description. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.